The Tenerife Airport disaster is considered by many to be the worst plane crash in aviation history. Two large passenger planes collided on the runway, killing 583 total people. The first aircraft was a KLM Boeing 747, and the other aircraft was a Pan Am Boeing 747, on which 61 lucky people actually survived the collision. So how did this actually happen? This event took place on March 27, 1977. A separatist group known as the Canary Islands Independence Movement had set off a bomb at Gran Canaria Airport. Obviously, this constituted countless flights to be diverted from their original path, and both cabin crews were ordered to divert to Los Rodeos or Tenerife Airport. While the Pan Am Boeing 747 was becoming ready to depart, the KLM plane was blocking the way. It turns out the pilot had made the decision to refuel, meaning they had to deplane all the passengers on there for around 35 minutes, after which they were instructed to return to the KLM plane, but some people didn't return, and the ones who didn't return are honestly so lucky. Ultimately, this incident just delayed the flight even more. Eventually, the KLM plane was instructed to taxi along the full length of the runway and perform a 180-degree turn at the end to get itself into an appropriate takeoff position. The Pan Am was instructed to follow it, and then turn to the third exit, as shown on this diagram, and then taxi along the parallel taxiway. Due to poor visibility, however, the crew could not identify the third taxiway, nor was there anything painted on it to instruct that it was the third taxiway anyway. Immediately after lining up, the KLM plane decided to take off and started powering up and slowly accelerating, even though they had not been cleared for takeoff. Miscommunications and incomprehensible commands from air traffic control reinforced that the plane was cleared for takeoff when it actually wasn't. In addition to this, neither captains could actually see each other because of the fog that was extremely thick and hard to see through at the time of the incident. All the while, the Pan Am was still on the runway. By the time the KLM had seen them on the runway, it was far too late to stop the plane. Instinctively, the pilots tried to lift the plane, but it wouldn't go high enough. The two planes struck each other on the runway, killing everyone aboard the KLM and all besides 61 of the passengers aboard the Pan Am. Both planes were destroyed, and all the 61 survivors had serious injuries at the time.